Good morning. I'll call this meeting to order. We have a quorum. All three commissioners are present. We'll start out with Commissioner Gross and a flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I move that we approve the minutes of April 29th, 2013.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes. Any additions, deletions, corrections? Call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved.
Comment?
The only public comment today is I have a letter I'd like to enter into the record on the board's position on the FEMA floodplain modifications and hearings. Carrie? There is no other public comment.
Mr. Chairman, we have two proclamations on the agenda this morning. I move we approve those, probably individually so we can read them in this record separately.
Motion has been made and seconded. Edna, could you read those into the record?
I know I don't.
The first one we have is Juror Appreciation Week. And I think this is pretty timely since I was called for jury duty for May. Whereas the right to trial by a jury of one's peers is an important and unique part of our system of justice and a cornerstone of our form of government. And whereas the 6th and 7th Amendments to the U.S. Constitution preserve the right to trial by jury and give the jury the responsibility to defend with its verdict all other individual rights enumerated or implied by the U.S. Constitution, including its amendments. And whereas the state of Washington in Article 1, Section 21 of the Washington Constitution recognizes these rights as true and unalienable. And whereas the Washington State Board of Judicial Administration and the courts of Washington State recognize the vital role played by the nearly 48,000 citizens who take time away from their families and businesses to serve as jurors each year. And whereas, as partners in justice, businesses and other employers across the state cooperate to assure our courts have a ready and representative pool of jurors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners proclaim the week of May 6th through 10th, 2013, Juror Appreciation Week in Lewis County, and in so doing, urges all citizens to recognize this event and to honor those individuals and business who continue to contribute to the vital part of our democratic way of life. Done in open session this 6th day of May, 2013.
Jennifer, do you have any comments? I know the judge couldn't make it this morning.
I couldn't make it, so I'll represent Superior Court. Susie is on vacation, and actually we have a bunch of jurors today being briefed on what it is to be a jury. So we just want to say thank you for your proclamation.
Okay, we'll vote on the proclamation for Juror Appreciation Week first, so I'll call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That's approved. The next one is National Drug Court Month. Edna?
Yes. The proclamation of National Drug Court Month, a proven budget solution. Whereas drug courts are a proven budget solution that benefit all facets of society, and whereas drug courts are an important component of our justice system, which save vast criminal justice resources and keep individuals out of jail and engaged with their communities as productive tax-paying citizens. Lewis County Drug Court reduces homelessness, reduces unemployment, increases educational status, and improves the mental and physical health of participants and their families. And whereas drug courts are the most effective tool in the criminal justice system for saving money and cutting crime, and whereas in operation since 2004, over 100 individuals have graduated from the Lewis County Drug Court program. 5 years after their graduation, only 12% have recidivated, definite evidence that Lewis County Drug Court is working. And whereas Lewis County Drug Court is breaking the cycle with over 10 children born clean to drug-addicted parents, and whereas drug courts facilitate community-wide partnerships, bringing together public safety and public health professionals in the fight against drug abuse and criminality. And whereas drug courts demonstrate that when one person rises out of drugs and crime, we all rise. And whereas in May, we celebrate the promise of recovery and restored hope to drug court graduates and their families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners declares that a drug court month be established during the month of May 2013, recognizing the significant contribution drug courts, both locally and nationally, have made toward reducing substance abuse, crime, and recidivism while saving valuable resources. Done in open session this 6th day of May 2013.
Jennifer?
The judge and I see also many members of our team here, would like to say thank you very much for your continued support. We'd also like to invite you to a graduation today. We have 3 people graduating, one a home health aide, another one who works as a cook at Country Cousin, and the third is a truck driver for Pacific Trucking. So we're really proud of our 3 graduates. Of course, when they joined the program, they were homeless and unemployed, and today they're fully functional members of society. So thank you very much for your support.
Jennifer, could you introduce your team?
I would like to introduce Officer Kevin Dickey, who works for Sheriff Mansfield, and also for Kevin Hansen, who works through the jail as our compliance officer. And I also have Rhonda Hempler here, who is my program, she's a community outreach worker, and she's my right-hand person. We also have the president of our peer support group, which is run by the alumni. It's an elite group of alumni, and it's for alumni who want to play the role of sort of a sponsor-type advocate for people who are just starting out in the program. And that's Jeannie Muxon, and I believe she has a few words to say, if you have a chance. And then we have Harlan Thompson here, who hopefully will soon become our steering board chairperson. So, and he's here to support us. So, thank you very much.
Would you like to come up and say a few words? Thank you all for the work you put into this.
I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for drug court, and it saved my life, and it gave me structure that I needed to keep on going. So I'm really appreciative of it. Thank you.
And we want to thank you for then giving back to the community and help others through that process.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a few comments. I wanted to extend a thank you to the drug court folks who participated in cleaning the front part of the Law and Justice Center about 2 weeks ago on a Friday during the rain. And it looks so wonderful, and I appreciate that effort. How many participated, Jennifer?
We had 22 actual participants and about 4 or 5
Yes.
It was a great turnout.
Yes, appreciate giving back to the community, and it was very evident your work was well done.
Any other comments? I'll call for the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? That one's approved.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, including resolution number 13247 through resolution 13257, and which are agenda items numbered 3 through 13.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Mr. Commissioner Gross?
Yes, resolution number 13-247, number 3 on the agenda, is the approval of warrants for this week. There were a total of 250 regular warrants in the amount of $973,202.31, and payroll warrants, 453 auto deposit warrants, 151 net pay warrants, and 58 county benefits employee deductions warrants totaling $3,391,327.65.
It's Glenn Carter of the Lewis County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. I'm speaking with reference to Resolution 13-248. The United States Fish and Wildlife Service has expanded the designation of critical habitat for the northern spotted owl. That designation now incorporates many thousands of acres of Lewis County, Skamania County, Klickitat County, and portions of Oregon and also Northern California. With respect to that designation, it includes areas that clearly should not be included. For example, it includes the White Pass ski area. It includes the ski lifts for the White Pass ski area. It includes the Cispus School itself. These are areas that probably do not constitute and do not meet the requirements for critical habitat for the preservation of the northern spotted owl. With respect to the designation, we take the position that it is not based on best available science. It is, in fact, appears to be a hope that the northern spotted owl will be able to outcompete the barred owl. Unfortunately, the findings are, and the studies established, that the barred owl, which overlaps in its territory with the northern spotted owl, is outcompeting the spotted owl. We are concerned that with this designation that we're taking habitat, we're taking lands out of the availability for logging and for other activities, that is going to be land that is going to support just the barred owl and is not going to support also the spotted owl. That in fact, when we go through this designation process that the Fish and Wildlife Service has pursued, that it is not going to preserve the spotted owl. And so based on the fact that it doesn't meet the requirements of the Endangered Species Act, which is that you designate critical habitat that is going to ensure the recovery of that species, in this case, based on best available science, it is not going to ensure the recovery of the spotted owl. For this reason, we have retained counsel, Susan Drummond of the law offices of Susan Drummond, and also a local counsel in the District of Columbia that will assist Susan Drummond and us with reference to this challenge. And Lewis County, Skamania County, and Klickitat County are jointly retaining Susan Drummond and the local firm in the District of Columbia to challenge this designation. This resolution requests your authorization that the prosecuting attorney enter into a contract with Susan Drummond and local counsel in the District of Columbia to challenge the Fish and Wildlife Service new rule and designation of additional critical habitat for the northern spotted owl.
It's my understanding that when they redid this, they actually went high enough in elevation and into forest habitat that the spotted owl has never been in.
I'm not a scientist myself, but based on the studies that have been done that support our position, you are correct. That's our understanding.
And one of the things that the counties have done with regard to this is we did our own economic impact analysis, which showed the economic impact, which is what they were required to do originally, but they failed to do. I'm referring to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And this particular designation nearly doubled. The original designation occupied about 1/3 of the national forest, the Gifford Pinchot. This designation doubled that. So it's roughly 2/3 of the national forest are now come under spotted owl habitat under this designation.
And picking up on your point, one of the challenges as well goes to the economic impact study that was done. The economic impact study that was done was not thorough, did not comply with the rule and the requirements with respect to an economic impact study. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Chief Deputy Stacy Brown with the Lewis County Sheriff's Office. I am speaking in reference to Resolution 13-249, and that is an increase of civil fees for the Sheriff's Office. And we would propose this as the Sheriff's Office has not increased any civil fees for many years, and expenses associated with the processing of such civil processes and writs have increased 20 to 30% in some cases. And the most recent update occurred in 2008, and that only addressed the cost of mileage and writ of restitutions, evictions. The proposed fee structure is standardized, it's easy to follow, and it'll assist citizens and our staff in being able to better understand the rates. It's much more streamlined. The civil process fee comparison was done with 4 comparable counties, and in looking at their cost, these new proposed fees are very comparable and reasonable in our opinion. And the fee increases will help recoup some of the costs associated with these types of civil processes. Although it won't recoup all of our expenses, it's getting us closer, and again, it's definitely more reasonable and comparable with fees charged by surrounding counties. Do you guys have any questions?
The board have any questions? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
My name is Kevin Hansen. I'm the jail administrator with the Lewis County Sheriff's Office. I'm here today to speak about Resolution 13-250, and this is an agreement changing and approving a new pharmaceutical provider for the Sheriff's Office, specifically the jail. In 2006, we contracted with a pharmacy called Costless Pharmacy Services, and as a result of a couple different meetings I went to, I found that a lot of the other counties, including the state, were using a different pharmacy provider. We spend about $60,000 a year on inmate medications. And with the new pharmacy, we anticipate a 2.3% savings, in addition to being much more efficient. They have online billing. They have automated services, which the other pharmacy didn't provide. I didn't go out to bid on this contract. We have an interlocal between us and Pierce County, and that's by resolution number 93-01. And Pierce County has an agreement with with Bridgeport Pharmacy, and that contract number is 77954. So therefore, I didn't go out to solicitation of public bids.
You actually piggybacked on another contract that did go out to public bid.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Lewis County Public Works Director, speaking to resolutions number 13-251 through 13-257 on your consent agenda. Resolution number 13-251 is the purchase of 1 2-yard dump truck. And as you're aware, during the March 22nd fire, we lost a 2-yard dump truck with a dump box and plow. This resolution would allow us to go off a state contract to replace those. The state contract for the truck is with Legacy Ford in Pasco, Washington, and for the plow and the bed is with North End Truck Equipment. And the two of these together is a cost of $66,220.51. Speaking to item number 8 on your consent agenda, resolution number 13-252. This is the approval of the acquisition of additional right-of-way for the Swofford Road Reconstruction project. Lewis County plans to reconstruct Swofford Road east of Mossy Rock, Washington, in section 21, Township 12 North, Range 3 East, in the Willamette Meridian, which will require additional right-of-way. To acquire one of the parcels needed will require condemnation. RCW 8-25-290 requires that notices and publications be made prior to the Board of County Commissioners taking final action to authorize condemnation of the property. On April 8, 2013, the Board of County Commissioners passed Resolution 13-109, instructing the Public Works Department to proceed with all necessary notifications and publications required by RCW 8-25-290. Notice of planned final action has been given by publication once a week for 2 consecutive weeks. Every property owner of record has been notified of planned final action by certified mail. This resolution will direct the prosecuting attorney to initiate condemnation proceedings to acquire the right-of-way as described in the attachment A. And this is a parcel, as you'll remember, where we had the property appraised. It's a small remnant quarter-acre parcel.
Quarter acre?
That's correct. It's unbuildable. And we had the property appraised, and it came in with an appraised value of $1,200. We offered $1,200 to the property owner, who came back and said, well, I'm sorry, my assessed value is $1,900, not $1,200. We then increased our offer to $1,900. The property owner then came back and said they wanted $2,500 for the property. We, in trying to meet them in the middle, offered $2,100. They refused that offer, and we're going to condemnation proceedings.
Now, when you gave them the second offer of $2,100, then, or the $1,900, they bumped it up again. Now, this is a quarter acre. We need to be able to fix that road.
That's correct.
How many residents on that road?
I have no idea. There are several.
How long has this road been held up by the inability to get this easement?
We've been held up on easements from different property owners for several years now. This is the final property owner. We've successfully entered into negotiations with all the other property owners.
I ask those questions because I'm always reluctant to go into condemnation. But if it's been delayed several years and there are multiple residents that need this repaired, and we have one last holdout, then this is actually a last resort.
Yes, this is a last resort. And as I mentioned, this is a remnant parcel. It's not a local owner, not that that makes a whole lot of difference, but there is no house here. It is non-buildable, and we've negotiated in good faith with this property owner.
Thank you.
Thank you. Speaking to item number 9, resolution number 13-253, approving a modified Schedule A and Schedule B attachments to the existing agreement with the Forest Service for cooperative maintenance of Forest Service roads. As you're aware, we have had what is considered to be a Schedule A and Schedule B for the maintenance of Forest Service roads with county forces, and that's allowed for by RCW 3682-140. This has been a long-standing agreement for in excess of 30 years. Actually, these types of agreement have been in place in every jurisdiction in which I've worked, which is 3 now. And basically what happens is that when it makes more sense for one entity to maintain another entity's roads, it could be the Forest Service maintaining county roads or the county maintaining Forest Service roads, then you would enter a Schedule A agreement which would detail which roads were being maintained. In this particular case, the county maintains Forest Service roads, but the Forest Service does not maintain any county roads. We are able to access and maintain all of our roads with the efficiency that is necessary. So the Schedule A details which roads will be maintained. The Schedule B describes how those roads will be maintained. And the Schedule B that has been accepted by the Forest Service at this point is basically it just lays out the different maintenance activities that are required to be done by each entity. In the past, there have been performance standards on the Schedule B agreement, and I'll just give you an example here. In the old Schedule B agreement, it said the service is to be maintained to provide smooth, dust-controlled, skid-free surface at design speed. Now, I think in today's society, it's known that we cannot always maintain the road in that condition. It was a goal back in, I think it was originally signed in 1983. It was a goal back in 1983, but in today's society, it would be an expectation. And so we've changed that expectation from a performance-based expectation, just as I mentioned before, just to mention which activities are performed by which entity. And so the new Schedule B will say that we will do crack repair, pothole repair, culvert cleaning, etc., those types of things, just laying out the duties of the county and maintaining these Forest Service roads without putting a performance-based standard on there as well. It specifically excludes that we will maintain tree vegetation greater than 4 inches in diameter, and specifically excludes that we will maintain danger trees.
Tim, I don't know if it's because of sequester or what, but the Forest Service is dragging their feet on reopening Skate Creek Road. Could you pursue that today and see if you can?
I'm sorry, pursuing what?
Pursue Skate Creek Road reopening?
Oh, sure.
They are, there's spares and slides or washouts or culverts plugged or something up there, and they're dragging their feet on it. And I think they're using sequestration as a hammer, so to speak. It's a,
Absolutely.
it's kind of a joke to have Cayuse Pass open, which is 4,500 feet, before Skate Creek Road, which is 2,500 feet in elevation. So something's messy there somewhere.
Got it. Speaking to item number 10, resolution number 13-254, which is approving a renewal of a lease with Riverside Fire Authority for the use of a radio communications site at the Cooks Hill Road Fire Station. This is a lease that has been in place since 1995 and continues to get extended. This particular lease is for a period of 4 years, and it's for the county to maintain a radio tower site on the Riverside Fire property. This particular tower maintains 911 and city dispatch and fire. It does not, this particular one does not maintain road department communication. This is for $350 a year for a period of 4 years. Speaking to item number 11, approving amendment number 1 to the Rural Arterial Program Project Agreement for Construction Proposal Contract for the Centralia Alpha Slide and Safety Project. Give me 1 second. So at the last quarterly County Road Administration Board meeting, they approved their Rural Arterial Program funding for the next biennium. Lewis County had 2 roads that met their funding requirements. The first is the Centralia Alpha Slide and Safety Project. This is amendment number 1 to our original funding agreement that we had with the County Road Administration Board through their RAP project. This appropriation is for $344,400, and it's in addition to already approved monies from the RATA funding, which is the monies that were approved before were $655,300. So this is for a total of $999,000 and some change. Are there any questions to that? And then the other one is, it's the other road project that was approved in the County Road Administration Board quarterly meeting, and this is for the North Fork Road Realignment Project. This is the first agreement that we have with County Road Administration Board using these RATA funds, and this is for $751,068. We do expect that in the next biennium that we'll get another appropriation for this particular road. This is for a segment of roadway that has inadequate right-of-way, and it has 10 substandard curves. So the project for this particular section of road is to purchase the right-of-way necessary to straighten out the curves and make this a standard road. The final resolution that I'll be speaking to today is resolution number 13-257, approving an interlocal agreement with the City of Yakima. And as you're aware, local entities have the ability to contract with each other to not only to perform services that one entity cannot perform, but also to, for lack of a better term right now, to piggyback on bids, as has been done earlier here today. The City of Yakima would like to piggyback on Lewis County's paint contract. We went out to bid a couple of years ago, and we got a very good price from Sherwin-Williams. And so in order to be able to do that, you have to have an interlocal agreement with the agency, and you have to have placed in the bid documents that other agencies can utilize the bid. We place that in our bid document, and this is finalizing the final requirement of ensuring that we have an interlocal agreement with the City of Yakima so that they can piggyback on our bid.
Tim, before you go, going back to item number 7, the purchase of the 2-yard dump truck. Last week, we approved the purchase of 4 dump trucks as replacements, and then this one, and we still have some equipment yet that we're going to try to purchase from Ritchie Brothers.
We do, and also we have a grader that we hope to piggyback with the Adams County bid. They purchased 3 graders last year, so using that purchasing power, we should get a very good deal. Or actually, I've looked at the prices; they are a very good deal.
Okay, So those are that equipment's all we've got left to replace up there.
We've got the grader. We have 2 loaders that we do expect to purchase from Ritchie Brothers, and some miscellaneous equipment. We still have a roller.
Yeah.
And both the loaders and the roller we hope to purchase from Ritchie Brothers. I had actually hoped to purchase this 2-yard dump truck from Ritchie Brothers, but they're so scarce. And being able to find one was not something that we were able to do. We talked to them about trying to find one and bring one in. We did have a state contract, and this is not a bad price at $66,000.
And would you explain just briefly why that's an important piece of equipment?
I'm sorry?
Why that's an important piece of equipment?
This, actually, it's a very important piece of equipment, especially for that Area 7 shop. It does 2 things for us. First of all, it allows us to patch potholes. We carry a small amount of cold mix with us to patch potholes. And then, but also in the wintertime is when it really shows its value, because it's a smaller truck with a plow on it, and we can clean out intersections, driveways, cul-de-sacs, where the big trucks or the larger plows have a harder time getting around.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Going to call for the question on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. The next, we have a hearing, the closeout of the CDBG grant for the Vader Enchanted Valley Water System. The way this works is the staff will present a report followed by a question and answer period. Anyone can ask questions. After we close the question and answer period, we will have an opportunity for the public to make statements. And the closeout does not appear to need a resolution or a ordinance or anything to act upon. We're just closing out the grant after the hearing, or this is the final hearing.
That's correct. And first of all, I'd just like to state that there is a sign-up sheet up here if anyone would like to speak to this. And one of the requirements for closeout is that the county hold a public hearing discussing the project and the benefits of the project. Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Elsey, Lewis County Public Works Director, holding a public hearing to discuss the benefits and the progress of the CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant for the Vader water system. And if I can, I'd like to go back and just discuss a little bit of the history and why we applied for and received this grant, and why the county is involved in the Vader water system at all. And the Washington State Department of Health initiated a receivership action in October 2010 by petitioning the Superior Court to appoint a receiver for the City of Vader water system. The reason for this is because the City of Vader had gone through several situations where they had not been able to maintain an adequate supply or adequate quality of their water system. During 4 years prior to the county's appointment as receiver, the system suffered 17 water main breaks and 10 boil water advisories. Some of those advisories continued for several days. Just to give you an example of the situation that they were in when we got brought into the picture, on November 17, 2009, the city announced that it had no money in the bank and owed approximately $135,000 in delinquent bills. The following day, the city experienced a number of concurrent emergencies. First, a water line broke, leaving 10 residences and 3 businesses without water. Second, the automated controls at the water treatment plant malfunctioned, so the plant had to be operated manually. Third, the surface water intake at the Cowlitz River appeared to clog. And fourth, the primary plant operator was on leave, so only the backup operator was available to operate the plant, investigate the malfunctioning equipment, and oversee the repair and disinfection of the broken water main. The very next day, on November 19th, more emergencies arose. 2 additional water main breaks occurred, which affected 12 more residences, the police department, and the fire hall. And the treatment plant, operating without supervision or automatic controls, failed to adequately treat the water entering the system. The State Office of Drinking Water issued a boil water advisory in the face of these emergencies, and the cumulative impact on the city's financial, managerial, and technical inadequacies. The city could not distribute the advisory notices to all 367 customer addresses within 24 hours as required by law. Because the city had no money, was delinquent on its existing bills from pipe suppliers and testing laboratories, and lacked the prospect of promptly paying those bills or any of the other new bills, the city also indicated that it might not be able to obtain the necessary pipes to repair the breaks or retain the laboratories to perform the required water quality testing. So when we took over this system, that's just a small synopsis to tell you that we took over a system that was in dire need of repairs and of someone being able to maintain the water system. When we originally took over the water system, we, within just a few months, we started performing improvements to the system. And I have quite a few pictures that I'm not going to bore you with right now, but we cleaned up the facilities. We, all around the water treatment plant, the reservoir, we added rock to the intake roadway so that it would be a year-round two-wheel drive road. We identified every single valve where they were located. We GIS mapped and verified the water meters with service addresses. I can go through a long list, but we ensured that the system could be repaired. We actually had a water main break on April 22nd, 2011, which is the last boil water advisory that was had by this particular water system, and that was on Good Friday. Our crews responded heroically, actually. They were there. It was Friday night. I went out with them. There was a hole in a 6-inch transite line, which is a asbestos cement line, and the hole was about 6 inches in diameter itself. It blew out the side of this pipe, and we lost tons of pressure. When we went out there and started working on it, and we did depressurize the system, which caused us to have a boil water advisory, we were not able to find the valves to shut this section off because one of the valves had actually been removed during a previous break. And as we were digging up this system or this break, one of the directions that I gave was that we continue to dig it up until we find the same type of transite pipe on the other end of the break. And part of the reason was because they had had so many breaks in this one section of line that there were 4 different types of pipe in 65 feet. We were able to get the main fixed that night and start making water again. And I tell people this is when I stopped looking at the Vader water system in pieces, and this is when I started looking at it as a whole. Because before this night, I looked at it as an intake system, as a treatment system, as a distribution system for the city of Vader, and as a distribution system for the Enchanted Valley water system. So, or Enchanted Valley Country Club. So what I found out this night is that all of those pieces work together. And I worked with Randy Kerrigan and John Strom until after 1 o'clock in the morning trying to get water service restored to all of the residents that night. An interesting story was that I was headed home. My wife had purchased a steak, and she was going to put it on the grill for me. And I met with the residents, and he was talking about not having water, and I told him that he would have water before I got my steak. And so those words came back to haunt me at about 1 o'clock in the morning when I went home. But we did have water restored to almost all the residents, although there was a vapor lock in one of the pipes. So we had to go out the next week and get water restored. I will also say that we had great cooperation with the County Department of Health because we had to take water samples in order to get the boil water advisory lifted. And not only the County Department of Health, but State Department of Health as well. They worked with us incredibly well. But the County Department of Health, Meredith came in on Sunday to test our water sample, Saturday to accept them, and Sunday to test them. And so that we were able to lift the boil water advisory by noon on Easter Sunday so that people could start cooking Easter dinner. So as a parallel to that process, the county went and tried to, well, we secured funding for a drinking water SRF, a state revolving fund, half loan, half forgivable loan for $722,000, and this community development block grant for $613,000 to improve the line segments that they had had such trouble with in the city of Vader. As an aside before that, I will say that in August of 2011, after the break, we were issued a green that we were in compliance with the Department of Health water system for the first time in years for that Vader water system, which meant that we could service up to the number of customers that had been approved in the water system plan. Prior to that, they were considered to be in the blue category, which meant that they were overextended. So, as you're aware, the CDBG is a state-administered federal grant that funds eligible local governments for priority community development projects, principally benefiting low and moderate income persons. All CDBG funded activities must meet one of the 3 national objectives of the program. They must either principally benefit persons of low or moderate income, prevent or eliminate slums or blight, or meet urgent needs posing serious and immediate threat to public health or safety. The Vader Enchanted Valley Water System Improvement Project met 2 objectives. They principally benefited low and moderate income persons. Based on HUD's 2000 census data, the city of Vader has a LMI percentage of 55.8%, 344 persons out of the total population of 617. Since November 2006 to the time of the application, March 2010, the system had 9 boil water advisories and 10 water main breaks, which lasted from a few hours to several days. The system is not in compliance, and Washington State Department of Health put the system at capacity in May of 2007 because it could not meet regulatory compliance. The system has over 50% of unaccounted water loss when we took over the system. So the county we went out for consultants and hired a design contract with MSA Consultants out of Tacoma in August of 2011. The contract then went out to bid on April 16, 2012, and with a bid submittal date of May 10, 2012. The contract for construction was awarded to I&E Construction, Clackamas, Oregon, in June of 2012 for $1,024,504.25 to replace 7,100 linear feet of 8-inch main with valves, air release valve assemblies and fittings, 1,900 feet of 4-inch water transmission line complete with valves and fittings, 80 service meter connections with customer shutoff valves. And that's significant because in the past, the customers often would have water shutoff valves, the long handle shutoff valves that you would put down into your meter box to shut off their own water. We've asked that they not do that because of water hammer, and if those valves are not handled correctly, they can be broken, and we've fixed several problems where the customer has cut off their own water. But to still afford the customer the ability to shut off their own water, we put a separate ball valve on the outside of the water meter box so that they could shut off their own water in case they had a leak or suspected a leak or wanted to do plumbing on the inside of their household. We put in 4 sampling stations so that we no longer have to knock on doors to get water samples, and we've also constructed 13 fire hydrants. Construction started July 23rd, 2012. The ending date for substantial completion was December 13th, 2012 for 97 working days. Physical completion was given on March 20th, 2013 after we had gone through all the punch list items, and the contract amount with approved change orders is $977,352.53, and our staff is still working on project closeout. As a part of this process, Public Works held project meetings with customers on August 31st, 2011, as a design kickoff meeting. And at that particular meeting, we invited the residents to come in and let us know if there were issues that involved their property that we wouldn't normally know about, such as if their grandmother planted an apple tree and they want us to avoid that apple tree, we would certainly want to do that. And that was the phase in the design process that we could continue to do that. On November 14th, 2011, we had a 30% planned construction meeting. And all of these meetings were very well attended, by the way, with generally between 30 and 50 people coming to these meetings. On July 11th, 2012, we had a construction kickoff meeting. I remember that because it was the day after I broke my neck on July 10th, 2012. And I wasn't able to be there. But it was very well attended. We introduced the community to the contractor, and Shirley Cook did an amazing job explaining the project and how it was going to go. And then finally, on February 20th, 2013, we had a post-construction meeting. And I was able to be at that meeting. And again, that was very well attended, and it was a very good meeting. I believe that the county and the residents, the water users, have been well served by this community development block grant. I will say we did have another water main break very similar to the April 22nd water main break. Let me say that right now. And that happened on March 31st, 2012. But the difference was that we had the valves in place and we had knowledge of the system at that point, so that we did not have a depressurization of the system. We did not have to have a boil water advisory. Now, all of the lines that have been broken in those previous boil water advisories have been replaced with this and the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund monies. And with that, I'll close my testimony.
Are there any questions from the board? Are there any questions? Could you come up to the mic just so we can get it on the record?
Is this your phone? Have we ever fixed the hydrant? Do you want me to say my name? Don Eddings, Vader, water customer. The fire hydrant down at Brooks Nook yet?
The one that was leaking when we took over the system?
The one on the other side of the Olaqua, the old restaurant that's empty?
I just want to make sure we're talking about the same one. We don't have any fire hydrants that aren't fixed as part of the system as much as I'm aware.
I think it still doesn't work. But I will research it.
Which one was it?
It's on 506 down by Brooks Nook, right in front of Brooks Nook.
Is that the old restaurant?
Yeah.
If it's hooked into the water system, the water main, I would bet that it's working.
Well, that last meeting you had, we asked the question, and Strom said they were still waiting on parts.
Oh, if that's not part of this construction project, then if it's just maintenance, then it could be that we're waiting on parts. We still have maintenance items that we have to do for the project for sure.
Are there any other questions? If there are no further questions, I will close the question and answer period. Tim, would you like your opening comments be incorporated into the record of the hearing?
No, I'd like to go through it again, please.
Okay.
Yes, I'd like for it to be incorporated. Thank you.
That will cost you. Then we have one person signed up for public testimony, Mr. Don Eddings.
Don Eddings, Vader customer, water customer. Right-of-ways. We have a few unhappy people that you did the work in the alley, and the alley easement is 20 feet. And somehow they drive across their lawns in the middle of winter, and the ruts are there. And the county commissioners have denied the claims. And then second, the machinery that the company had was too big. Our roads could not handle that big loader. It's just something to think about in the future. They ran that thing all day long. I think he got paid by the mileage. And meters, I got a question on meters. Some people got their meters, they had extra meters, they eliminated them, and some people got meters. The way I understood what you were going to do, if you got a meter, you pay the $48.50 a month. But some people aren't. And public relations, that was, people thought Vader did just as good a job as the county, by my knowledge, but I know better. I think the county is doing a fantastic job. Everybody, there's only one person that benefited from the deal, and that's the operator. The rest of the employees are going the extra mile. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We do have one outstanding incident that we have with a customer that we're still working with. And it was due to the contractor driving across private property. And so we're working with that individual at this time.
We have not been made aware of a claim there, so I don't know if the Board of County Commissioners, at least I don't recall a claim being processed by us on a damage to somebody's lawn. If it was, it escaped me.
There was a claim to a pickup truck that was
I'm
investigated.
aware of the pickup truck,
Aware of
but
the
I'm
pickup
not
truck.
aware of a lawn.
I'm not aware of equipment that went across the lawn that we had a claim to repair.
We haven't denied any other claims.
Okay. That's what I said. I haven't been made aware of the claim that you're referring to, Don. That you said the Board of County Commissioners denied the claim. I have not seen that claim, so I don't know how I could have denied it. So that claim hasn't come to our desk yet. It may still be being processed. And sometimes those claims don't come to us directly, that our risk manager handles them and works with our department heads to get those resolved. So they don't always come to us directly. It may have been processed by the risk manager.
Usually before they're denied, they come across our desk. But if they're still in the process of being reviewed, we may not have seen that yet.
And just as clarification, we've met with the property owner and spoken with the property owner on several occasions, and we're getting to an end there. I don't think we're going to be at a point of denying any claim for this particular one. I think we're going to be able to work through all of the incidences. As a clarification, it's very tight working in small city rights-of-ways with other utilities. The contractor did not break any land speed records, but they also did not break many utilities. And they did a pretty good job of working around the constraints that they had to work with and to finish the project on time and in budget, as you saw. But one thing's for sure is we're not going to make an omelet without breaking a couple of eggs.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're probably never going to make everybody happy.
Is there any further discussion on the board? We met the terms and the requirements for the grant for this hearing. With no further testimony, I will close this hearing.
Mr. Chairman, seeing no further business on our agenda, I move we adjourn.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.
And I just want you